exciting.
I'm hoping my mic's on. I didn't turn it off. Hello and welcome back to our second encounter series and our second episode of our Abraham Accord series. It's very exciting to have you back here, and if this is your second episode this term, then you will receive your £10 delivery voucher, and I will be sending them out tomorrow or Thursday, so keep an eye out and get excited for them. Make sure to get the best out of this session to put us on speaker view, not on gallery view.
And as you can see, in Series 2, we have upped our game. Our prizes are bigger, our competitions are better. So let's just take 1 second to have a look at last week's winner of our Jackpot AirPods prize. Let's look at a very happy David over there. We hope that he's enjoying his prize from Encounter. And of course, stay tuned for tonight. You know what the Jackpot prize tonight is to find out who wins your very own movie night in Encounter package.
Yes, you should have seen our competition launched on my Instagram, DanielleJ_8. But if you haven't, you've still got time to enter. This prize is mega. It's a movie night in package with booze, with chocolate, with sweets, with popcorn, and of course with a projector. So all you had to do was like the post, share it on your story, tag me, and also comment your movie that you would watch with this movie night in package. So there's still a few minutes to enter this competition, and we'll be announcing that winner at the end of the show, so watch out. But for now, we're going to start tonight's show with a little game. We have a memory game. We have two participants, James Conn at Birmingham University and Amy Wine at Nottingham University. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, James and Amy. You are battling it out for, I guess, the prestige of your own universities. But in a moment, I don't know how much you're aware of what you've got yourselves into, but in a moment, we're going to play a video on our screen, which is going to show a conveyor belt with random items going past the screen. Your job is to memorize as best you can every single item there. And after the video, you're going to be competing against each other, taking it in turns to name one of the items that you can remember. And it's a last person standing. So the last person to remember something will be our winner. And the first person to fail to remember an item on that list will unfortunately walk away empty-handed. Now, just before we show you that video, to make it fair, we're going to do a quick round of rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the right to guess what they've remembered first. Okay, so hold up one hand to the camera. And if you can count with me to 3, on 3, we want a rock, paper, or scissors. 1, 2, 3.
Do it again.
2 scissors, and again. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so we've got James going first, so paper beats rock. So watch this video, take a close look. We're going to make sure you're not cheating, so don't write any list down. We're going to have your hands in the air when you're saying the name, so don't try and cheat. So let's watch this video. So the prize for getting the most right and the last person standing will receive a £20 Amazon gift voucher. So as the winner of our rock, paper, scissors, James, you will be starting. And as we go along, we're going to be making sure you're not repeating an item or forgetting. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's start with James.
Bonsai tree.
Bananas.
Amy, bananas.
Red hat.
Yep.
A teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
Basketball.
Yep.
A drill.
Yep.
Roman statue.
Yep.
A lawnmower.
Correct.
Guitar.
Yep.
Potatoes.
Yep.
Towers.
Yep.
Teapot.
You're both doing very well. Go for it.
Oh, wait.
Didn't name anything yet. A typewriter.
Very good.
That was mine. Give me 2 seconds. Said that already. Oh my gosh, my mind's just gone blank. Said banana.
Give you 5 more seconds.
Okay, I'm just gonna go for something really random and say book. I don't know.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm sorry, Amy. I know that was really hard.
It's okay.
It isn't as easy as people think. But well done, James. We're going to be sending over to you a £20 Amazon gift voucher.
Thank you, guys.
Out of interest,
Well played, Amy.
James, did you have
Thank you.
another one?
Congratulations.
Out of interest, James, did you have another one?
No.
That was
I would have been stumped.
The typewriter was my last one.
It's not as easy as people think, but what we thought would be really, really fun for tonight's show is we're going to do another game of that, but this time we're going to be competing. We're going to have Mira Amiash representing the Birmingham team, and we're going to have Oza Moskowski representing the Leeds team, and you guys are going to be competing and doing exactly the same thing again, but you're fighting for your cities, your campus cities, because with this, it means that if whoever wins, Birmingham, if you win, you receive an extra, anyone watching who's from Birmingham will receive an extra 2 membership points, and the same goes if the Leeds team win, which means that from tonight's encounter episode, you can win 7 points, depending on who you're rooting for.
So on behalf of, for all the Birmingham students, Mira, and on behalf of all the Leeds students, Rabbi Ozer, are you ready?
Yeah, the pressure's on though. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Now, before we show you that video, we're going to just have to make this 100% fair, just like we did with our contestants before. On the count of 3, we're going to do a rock, paper, scissors, and we're going to see who's going to be able to guess first. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, Mira's got the scissors over there, so we're going to give Birmingham, we're going to have the first dibs on the guessing. Let's play that video.
On the conveyor belt tonight, we have a loaf of bread, a mobile telephone, a cup of tea, a microphone, a tin of paint, a DVD, a candle, a diamond tiara, some shampoo, a fancy camera, a violin, an electric kettle, a Bible, a computer, a cuddly toy, a birdhouse, a small rabbit,
Okay, so we're going to start with Mira. Remember, you're fighting for your campus teams. So, Mira, we're going to start with you.
Okay, a mobile phone,
Correct.
Rabbi Ozer,
Microphone.
microphone.
Correct.
a cup of tea,
Correct.
A kettle.
Correct.
a tiara,
Correct.
A rabbit.
Correct.
Shampoo.
Yep.
A cuddly toy.
Correct.
A loaf of bread.
Yep.
A
God.
computer.
Yep.
A bad box.
Yep.
I'm done.
That was a quite quick drop. Do you want to go for a guess or not?
Why not? Let's throw something out here. Was there a Bible?
Correct.
It would be bad if I hadn't got that one right.
Okay, a candle.
Yep.
Don't kill me, Burmese.
A violin.
Yes. Keep going.
Oh my God. Hmm.
Can feel the tension here.
We're gonna
Yeah,
give you
definitely
one more
attention. I've got to think this through. Hold on. Said that one.
Just a few more seconds.
Oh God, please don't do this to me. A camera.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Close.
Saved in the
Right,
nick
back
of
to you,
time.
Rabbi Oza.
I was done on the last round. Oh,
There's 2 more items.
Oh, really? What, they've got the whole list?
They've got the whole thing
Wow.
except for 2.
That's quite impressive.
can't look into this.
Just give you another 5 seconds.
Such deep thought there.
Hmm.
They're going to produce.
No.
The answer? No.
We're going to have to call it.
The other 2 items were a DVD and paint. So congratulations, Mira. You have won all the Birmingham students watching on tonight's Encounter episode an extra 2 membership points. So you guys
I told you I won't disappoint you guys. I told you.
Congratulations.
Thanks. That was fun.
Congratulations, James, and of course to all of the Birmingham students watching this evening who will be receiving 2 extra membership points that can earn them some fantastic Asian Campus merch. But now really we're moving to our central point of tonight's show, to move on our journey of the Abraham Accords series, where we're looking at some of the central Jewish values that have changed the face of the world that we live in over the past few thousand years. I got the answer right. We're going to be asking the question about what makes some of these values intrinsically Jewish, asking also whether the Jewish people have actually introduced this as a value to the world that we live in, and perhaps most importantly, how we can take this value and turn it into something practical and meaningful for our lives. Tonight, to address our topic of the value of human life, we've invited some familiar faces from the Asian Campus team around the country to join us to share their perspective on the value of human life.
The value for human life is something which society holds as one of its central collective morals. Everyone appreciates the need to preserve human life, to make sure that every single human being is cared for. Haven't we spent the past year celebrating our NHS staff, the carers, the key workers, the doctors? Every doctor, when he takes his position, takes an oath to preserve human life. However, if you glance back to 2,000 years ago, this wasn't at all the case. And I would even venture to say that in societies nowadays, this moral is something which collective society hasn't necessarily got a unanimous opinion on. I mean, a way that this came out actually was a couple of years ago. There was this fellow called Mr. Jing Chang, and he was passing by a bridge in the town of Xianchang in China. And as he came onto this bridge, he saw that there was a man, Chen, was trying to climb off this bridge, or the top of this great bridge, and he was staging a protest. and he was threatening suicide. And after 5 hours, he decided he had enough, and he broke through the cordons, climbed up to the top of the bridge, and with cheers from everyone below, he then proceeded to do the unthinkable. He pushed out a hand and shoved Chen off the top of this bridge. Thankfully, Chen was caught by a gigantic blow-up mattress below. But this is a story which hit the world headlines around the world. Now the question is, what did Miss Chen do that was so terrible? That was something which was so morally wrong. I mean, put it this way, assisted suicide, you could have one foot in Kansas state, another foot in Colorado, and in one state, you would be doing a virtue, helping another human being with his God-given gift of free will. In another state, you'd be considered an assisted murderer. And if you think about to the origins of this, if you go way over 3,000 years ago, there's evidence of societies that practiced things like infanticide, things like a complete disregard for human life of anyone that was at a lower social status below them. Think about the gladiators, think about Sparta, think about the ancient societies that anyone who didn't fit their vision of someone who was part of this high society would end up in the gladiators' pit, would end up fighting against a lion in the middle of this ring, or an infant that was born slightly deformed or unwanted was chucked into a pit, not only in places like the Agora in Athens, but even in Ashkelon in Israel. And you know what? In a little town called Hambledon in England, in the Chiltern Hills, they found 150 child remains. So perhaps along came a small group of people round about 2,500 years ago, and started slowly but surely to introduce this concept of the value of human life, which until then was without doubt a radical idea.
Just 6 weeks ago, on a Sunday evening, I received a phone call that my grandfather had had a stroke and had been taken to a hospital near his home in Southern California. He was needing constant resuscitation and to be put on a life support machine. The doctors had decided, given his age of 93, that there wasn't much hope that he would come back, he'll be able to regain his physical or mental capacities. And therefore the decision that they made was not to continue resuscitation and not to put him on a life support machine. I immediately jumped into action. I called all the people that I knew in America. I spoke with medical experts. I spoke with lawyers who specialize in end-of-life crisis. And I managed, after much effort and time, to overturn the decision of the doctors in the hospital. And I gave my grandfather another 5 days of life. He passed away the following Friday afternoon. When I jumped into action, when I spent time, it was the evening, it was late into the night here in the UK, it was early Sunday morning in America. It wasn't because I questioned the authority or the decision of the medical experts in California. I realized and I knew I didn't have this wishful hope that my grandfather would regain consciousness, that he would come back to continue living a productive life. It was because I believe deeply that every minute, every second of life has infinite value. There isn't a price that you can put on a second of life. And this is something that I believed and that I believe, and something that I am fortunate to have been able to do something for my grandfather, to give him 5 extra days of life that maybe wouldn't be called productive, life that maybe some would say is draining society, not being fruitful to society. But life itself is invaluable. It doesn't matter race or religion, age or ability. Human life is sacred. In Jewish thought and in Jewish religion, this idea of the sanctity of human life, of every second of human life, is because every human being has godliness inside of them. Not because they can do or become something great, not because of a dormant, latent potential that they can actualize, but because the life itself, the gift, the beauty, the godliness of life itself is invaluable. My wife's grandfather had this amazing line that he would often say, things that money can buy are cheap. And one of those things that you cannot buy is life. And life is the most valuable of our assets. And this story taught me, showed me, and I realized that those 5 days of life, of a life lying still in a vegetative state on a hospital bed in Southern California, is invaluable, is godliness itself here in this world. And this is a lesson that Judaism have taught the world. This is a lesson that we believe, and this is a lesson that I am thankful and fortunate I was able to put into practice.
It was in the middle of the night, pitch black. The house was silent. My mum was upstairs, exhausted from the day's events. And my husband, Eliezer, was across the room, probably in another world. It was 2 a.m. and I was feeling very alone. And then I looked over my shoulder and I saw this beautiful baby girl that I had birthed 7 hours earlier. Why I'm in my bed 7 hours after birth is a story I could tell you all another time. But I look over her and I see this beautiful, innocent, gorgeous face, the soul of a human being who's not even a day's old. And I did not even know it's possible to feel that many emotions at once. I was feeling grateful for this journey, for this beautiful baby that God has given me, healthy and beautiful, and relieved that this journey of the pregnancy is over and that, thank God, everything's behind me. I was feeling excited, and at the same very instant, I was feeling so scared. The first thought that came into my mind, honestly, was, how can I let myself fall asleep if I've never woken up from a crying baby before? Who said I'll wake up? That responsibility as a mother urged me to try and understand what is over here before me. A baby who has never taken a bath before. She's never had a bad chat before. I understood that over the next 24 to 48 hours to a week, it will be a celebration of many, many firsts for this human being, which I had just birthed. I couldn't help but notice she's so pure and innocent. And God gave me the responsibility as a mother and the ability to birth this child and fill this blank canvas to its full potential. And that's where it brings me to ask myself this question, and I would like each of you to ask yourself this question. Who am I? And for me, that answer is, I am a piece of God. I am that which is born from all that is. Understanding that because I am connected to the source of all that is possible for me. That's huge. And I look at my daughter, who's this fresh soul that was just put in my hands in this world, and I think the amount of potential that this child can get to, that is the value of life. She is a daughter of God. Now, it's very known that when you have a baby and you haven't yet named, if it's till the Brit Milah or until the Kiddush or until the announcing of the name in shul, the parents usually come up with all these cute names for the baby. Some people go for Honey, some people go for Sweetie, some go for Cuckoo, and they come up with all these creative names to name the unborn baby, the unnamed baby. And for me, my natural instinct and the only name I used for the full week that she didn't have a name was Princess. And I had no idea why, but there was just no other name befitting of pass me the baby. It was pass me the princess, or hi princess, good morning princess, every time we woke up for that week. And that accumulated into Atara. Atara in Hebrew means crown, and that was the most befitting way that I could call her.
Now, before we go on to talk about this amazing topic and continue this conversation with our incredible educators, I just want to give you all a reminder about the Insta competition. If you have entered, make sure that you have your name written down on your screen so we can know that you're watching and therefore enter you into this raffle to win this amazing prize. But what's incredible about Encounter is that we welcome on different perspectives on the same topic. The value of human life is one topic, but we have welcomed on 3 educators to continue this discussion and to talk about their perspectives of this incredible topic. So we want you guys to get involved and ask questions. If you do have questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And if you want to send them anonymously, of course, you can send them directly to our Encounter admin. But we now have the incredible opportunity of welcoming all 3 educators into our studio here, representing the Northern campuses, Leeds and Birmingham here. We have everyone here to continue this conversation, and 3 very personal and emotional stories, and something that gives just a completely different opinion and perspective on this central topic of the value of human life. So I want to talk about a few things that were talked about in your little TED talk. So Rosa, I'm going to come to you first. And one thing that you talked about, which was a very sensitive issue and quite an emotional issue, if I may, that actually you chose to you prolonged your grandpa's life, right? Your grandfather's life, which is such a meaningful thing. And this is something that you talked about being a very strong core value of human life. But I want to ask you, if someone's in pain, if someone's really suffering, is that the right thing to do? Like, why do we do that? Can we justify that just for the value of human life, even though they're suffering?
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to clarify something that I said in my remarks. But firstly, big shout out to all of you at Leeds. Sorry for letting me down in the competition. It's great to be in the room where the magic happens. The idea of the value of Jewish life, the value of life in Judaism, expressed itself for me in an end-of-life crisis situation. But I think it's important for us to realize and think about that it's the life itself that is invaluable. It doesn't matter of age, it doesn't matter whether young or old, rich or poor, able or disabled. And this is something that has to influence our decisions, our thoughts, our perspectives as we go through life, for our own life, for the lives of our friends, the people next to us, the people with us, the people in our society. And that's a value and something that Judaism has always, and has, as we've surely said, has always, but has to continue influencing the way that we live our life. That it doesn't matter, regardless of who, when, how, but life itself has infinite value, that pleasure or pain cannot be the barometer by which we measure human life. Human life has no relative value.
And I think that's such an interesting point. So what I'm hearing from you, just to summarize, is the fact that human life, no matter who you are, what kind of lifestyle you live, what kind of attitudes you take, human life itself is the most important thing. And therefore pain and suffering shouldn't affect us wanting to prolong that and wanting to value that and cherish that as much as possible. And I think that's a really powerful message and really interesting. It's really special to obviously hear it from also like a very personal point of view for you, someone who went through exactly like these tough decisions. Like, it's not an easy decision to make. So it's quite interesting to know that your core value is rooted in there, and you really use that core value in your life with your grandfather. And I just want to move on. So Mira, I want to speak to you next. I want to talk about the fact that as a Rebbetzin, as a Jewish woman, you're representing a different style, and a different perspective on exactly the same topic. And that's what's amazing. And one thing I want to talk about is there is this like general view that we should replace the 6 million Jews that were sadly lost during the Holocaust. And that should be our sole purpose. We should have kids just to replace them and make sure we make up those numbers so that we're not lower numbers. We've got 6 million more people. We should keep doing it. But actually, what you shared in your video is there's a different there's a different angle to that. There's more to it than just, let's just replace these 6 million Jews who we sadly lost. So I'd love to hear more about that from you.
100%. I think that this notion that we've had, first of all, hi Bruce, I hope I made you proud. I think that I've had that notion, and there is a notion out there saying that due to the Holocaust of losing 6 million, then we need to feel pressure to kind of make up those numbers. And we're just trying to make up for the loss what we've had pre-war. As you can see, my personal relatable way of seeing this entire concept of the value of Jewish life is just to hem in on how it's not about making up, it's not about numbers, it's about the actual life, the value of the life that's sitting there. Looking at a baby, looking in your eyes, you realize the full potential that this child can get to. You see how it's a piece of godliness in this world, and you see just how much it can do and get to, and the potential of this child. So if you're talking about numbers, it's not just another baby. It's not about the pressure, and you can't have that pressure. It's because each baby is not just another one. It's the one. It's another life. It's an infinite value. And I think something that's very relevant, there was a woman, a survivor from the Holocaust, who on her 104th birthday, the family made for her a surprise, and they flew in all her grandchildren, great-grandchildren from around the world back to Jerusalem and to the Kotel, and they took a massive picture together. Go on Google, you'll see it. There's 400 descendants there from that one woman. This one woman picked herself up, she remarried, and she had 400 descendants, and she just passed away yesterday at the age of 105. That's really sad, but at the same time, if you see how that one survivor, the value of that one survivor, and to see a positive take about what the potential of that Jewish life could be. And I think that's our core focus as Jewish people.
And I think that's so interesting. So what I'm hearing here is, it's basically, to sum it up in a few words, it's quality over quantity. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the value. It's about what we do with that value. It's about what we can bring to other people. And that's what makes it so special. Each person is so individual to themselves. You can't just replace them. You can't just make up the numbers. Like, it is just as important to have this incredible value of human life. And I think that's so interesting, especially from someone like who's a mother yourself. Like, you can really understand that having that child, it isn't just another child, it's a life. This is your kid, this is your child, this is someone who has so much value and what they can bring to the rest of the world and society. So I think that's really, really special to hear. And I mean, it's so incredible to hear from like 3 different stories. Like, honestly, it's amazing. And like, to have all of you here to be able to like continue this conversation. And Shirley, I want to come to you next. And you kind of, we know that this deep-rooted core value happened years ago, thousands of years ago. And one of the things we like to address in our Encounter series and the Abraham Accord series is, have we failed or have we succeeded? Have the Jews really shown that this is a core value? This is what we should believe. This is what we should go on teaching everyone. And have we succeeded in teaching it, showing the value of human life? And I want to ask you that, like, is it practiced enough today? Do people actually know about it? Are we doing enough? Have we changed the world enough to show that the value of human life is as big and deep rooted in our morals and our values as we say it is?
Thank you so much. I think that's obviously a really, really good question, and actually a really important question to address, not just for this topic, but for all the Abraham Accords topics, which is about giving values to the world. So, and in true Encounter fashion, I want to say a massive hello to all my friends there, wherever you are in the country. It's great to be here. It's great to be in this room. And it's an honor to be in the studio with you. So thank you so much. Have we succeeded? It's a great. I think the best way to answer that is really to share something personal, which I can say personally how I feel this has affected who I am. So Maria was mentioning before about this lady from Bnei Barak who went through the Holocaust, and it reminded me of something which happened quite recently, actually, because I recently uncovered the video of my grandmother, who was a Holocaust survivor, speaking about a couple of children who, whilst she was in the Holocaust, she took care of and she brought up as their own for an entire year of her life. And she really saved them. She took them with them through the camps in Theresienstadt whilst she was there. And actually, quite interestingly, we actually found out the identity of these children on an ACE trip last year. So anyone who was on that ACE trip will remember that one of the other participants on the ACE trip is actually a great niece of one of these people, and I actually managed to speak to that person. But one of the things which I noticed when I was watching this video was that my grandmother had carried this idea, this central core value throughout her life. So much so that my grandmother, who I knew very well, it embodied her entire existence. And us as grandchildren, that was something which we knew a part of our identity was our grandma had granted someone else the ability to survive. It was only many years later, just last year, that we actually found out the identity of the families of the people that she managed to save. And for me, that was something really, really special. So you're asking a question of practically, have we radicalized the world? Well, looking back and the world, yes, we know that 3,000 years ago, murder was played as a sport. There was blood games in the Colosseums. They used to rip each other apart. They used to chuck people into pits to fight against lions, against other humans. If you weren't at the right class in society, you'd be savagely disposed of. And although nowadays blood sports actually still exist, they exist in terms of MMA, UFC. In fact, boxing is actually a blood sport. Judaism has always felt that combat is not something which is part of the identity of who we are. And that's why, in fact, when the Jews were commanded to build the temple, they weren't even allowed to use any metal object, because metal is synonymous with weaponry. And it had to be at a place which was the creed, and the real essence of the Jewish people had to be synonymous with peace and harmony. So I'm not saying that we're there yet, that Jews we shouldn't be watching extreme fighting sports, or we should all stop watching the boxing. But I really feel that if you just take a look at what Judaism's gifts are nowadays to the world, you'll see, if you look at Israel, if you look at Jewish organizations, you'll see that the banner, the message which they emblaze upon all the charity headers is the respect for life, the value of life. Israel has done such a phenomenal job at dishing out the vaccine, at taking such early responses to coronavirus because of their values for human life. So I wouldn't say that we're there yet. We have a long way to go. But there's something specific which the Jewish people have at least managed to impress upon the world over the 2 millennia, is the idea that every single person, if you look into their eyes, you can actually see there's a spark of divinity, and that is something which we need to hold dear, and we need to continue spreading to the rest of the world.
And I think that's really important message. And I think the fact that we are getting there, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of progression to go, but we are progressing, we're moving forward. We do identify, and even welcoming you guys onto Encounter today to have this conversation with our students and to educate and to talk about this from 3 different perspectives is the perfect way of talking about how we are embodying this value of human life. And we're telling everyone about it, we're discussing it further, and we actually have an anonymous question. So this is very exciting. So we're going to address it. I'm going to address it to you, Mira, because I think it's really encompasses what you talked about before. And we've got someone asking a hard question, if I'm honest. It's something that might be quite tough for people to hear, but there's plenty of people out there who actually can't have children, right? And they sadly were not made that way. That's not the way their body was. And should they feel responsible for not contributing to making this human life and having and being able to feel this special connection, that it's not an extra one, it's another life? Like you said before, obviously it's a very sad situation, but it happens. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, if you can.
Question. Well done to have asked that. I think that we have to pull away from that notion of taking responsibility. God gives, he creates our human body in the complexity that is, and he does things for reasons that we don't know. We have a monan betachon, which is belief that everything is for the best. Shouldering responsibility isn't something that we don't have that concept. Our responsibility is to become the best person that we can be. Whether it's with children, some people don't get married. So some people some people are born with disabilities. So you can ask that question at every point of life in many, many different sectors. It's not specific to not having children or having children. So I think in reality, the answer to the question is we have to pull away from the notion of we need to take responsibility, like taking responsibility to make up for the 6 million. It's not about the numbers, and it's not about taking responsibility. Our life is about filling it to its potential. So whether we can give that potential to someone else, or we've only given that potential to a disabled child, or we've only given that potential to a child that then was, you know, God forbid, passed after a few months, or life circumstances happen, and it comes from God, and everything is coming from God. I think having that attitude to life and realizing the only potential that you have to fulfill and focus on is yourself, that kind of puts a more positive attitude and vibe to it.
I definitely agree. And I think that actually we're talking about the topic valuing human life. Yes, that can come through cherishing a child, a newborn child, and valuing their human life. But like we heard with Rabbi Oz's story about his grandfather, he valued his grandfather's life. It doesn't have to be necessarily, if you, obviously we want to have babies, we want to fulfill our lives, the lives of others, but we can fulfill the lives of others and show the value of human life without it being our own offspring. And I think that's definitely
right. We can start by just valuing our own lives.
Exactly.
And value the potential of our own individual life.
Which is a massive thing in itself. Yeah. And I think that, oh gosh, I could have this conversation for ages. And like, honestly, it's so amazing to have you three to be, like I say, I think it's so important to hear the same topic from such different perspectives, different stories, but all bringing on this value of human life, showing how deep rooted and core within our Jewish values this is. And I think that's so important. So thank you so much for all being here to answer and speak to our audience today. It's been really, really special having you here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
It's been amazing to be able to talk to everyone. And I think that we could have this conversation for ages. We know we can, but we have to move on, and we move on to our next segment. But before we do, I want to introduce next week's topic, which is human dignity, with the amazing Rebitz and Shari Freeman. So check out her online course.
Is Judaism sexist? Is there space for a 21st century modern woman to find herself in Judaism? Or is the view of Jewish women simply outdated and archaic? My name is Shelby Friedman, and for over a decade, I've been exploring these issues. We're presented with two stereotypes of the docile homemaker. She raises her children, always smiling, always happy. She probably has a dog or two. On the other hand, we have the ferocious go-getter, incredibly confrontational, harboring some resentment. These extremes of women blast at us from social media. People can no longer understand what it is that they want to be. Being too much on the one extreme so that people will like you, or avoid being too much on the other extreme so that people won't pity you. Is it time for us to redefine the role of a Jewish woman? Together, let's delve into some of the deepest Kabbalistic secrets. What does it mean to be a Jewish woman? Having a woman in a place of leadership is critical, but it's important that that person leads as a woman. Instead of trying to do the seemingly impossible task of fusing together the modern day woman and the model of the traditional Jewish woman, join me. Let's find an entirely new spin on it.
The concept of human dignity, and welcome Rebitz and Shelby Friedman. If you're interested in joining her online course, please do check out our website. But I think it's important to say at this point, you know, a lot of you are watching Encounter on a Tuesday evening for the competitions, which are awesome, some of the prizes, which are great. Some of you are just here for a delivery voucher. But really, if we ask the question, what's Encounter all about? Why do we run Encounter? I think the answer is to encounter some of these values, to challenge in the way that we have done and ask these deep questions. And that is, are these intrinsically Jewish values? Is Judaism a belief system, a value system that has radically changed the world? And is this a place where we can discuss and bring out values that can deeply impact the way we live? I think when we've addressed the value of human life, we've heard personal stories. You've heard from some of our campus team from around the country. And if you're wondering how we can continue these conversations, they're living on your doorstep. Reach out to them. If you're in Leeds, Birmingham, Nottingham, or any of the northern campuses, Bristol, wherever you might be placed right now, especially in a world of virtual contactability, reach out to one of our team to continue these conversations, because encountering Jewish values is about understanding they can make a difference to the world around us, and more importantly, to our lives. And if we had to summarize the entire concept in one line from tonight's show, the value of human life, that is every single human life has infinite worth. Every single person cannot be valued according to something else. There's no price you can put on their life. Understand that, because that's a really important value to have, especially in light of today's ongoing situation that can be really challenging for lots and lots of people. So that was the value of human life.
It's a very, very important topic that is so rooted within our values and morals and the things that we believe. So I'm so happy that we had this conversation tonight on the show and we're able to share some of the perspectives with you guys. But now on to tonight's competition. So we launched our competition on Instagram with a movie night in package with booze and chocolate and sweets and popcorn and of course a projector. And you guys had to enter and comment your favorite movie, but we had so many comments. It was absolutely epic. Look at this, literally so many comments. And I actually had the opportunity of replying to most people and being like, I've seen that. And some of you have really basic movie tastes, if I'm honest. A lot of them I really like. A lot of them, there's a few I'm not particular fans of, but it's okay. Everyone has their own opinions. But we hope to share the prize with at least with one of you. And if you guys are living together, please share it together. Enjoy it. It would be amazing. So we have compiled a list of everyone who is watching tonight's show and are entering you guys into a little raffle. Please, if the person is not watching tonight's show, that's okay. We will respin the wheel, but we hope to, if you can, bring you on the show. So make sure to turn your videos on and also be ready to unmute yourselves if you can and if you will be brought into the studio to welcome your prize and enjoy it. So we hope to be in touch. So are we ready to spin the wheel?
That's right. Turn your cameras on so we can identify the winner as soon as we can. You can see on here we have our spinning wheel with all of the names of the people watching this evening on. We're about to start spinning the wheel. And if you see your name is where the arrow ends up, you are tonight's very, very lucky winner. And what we want you to do on your on camera is go completely crazy. We want you to wave us, make as much virtual noise as you can so that we can identify you as soon as we can and bring you on the show. So we are going to spin our wheel. Are you ready?
Let's go for it.
Get those cameras on and be prepared. You might be tonight's very lucky winner. Here we go.
So many names there. Honestly, we had so many people participating in this, which is fantastic to see. So many people have the same movie taste, actually. It's slowing. Oh, we're coming to a winner. Who is tonight's winner of a movie night in package? Tonight's winner of a movie night in package consisting of alcohol, treats of all sorts, and as well as a projector, we have Rebecca Saunders. Rebecca Saunders, can you see and hear us? Are we able to bring you in
Let's
today?
see. Rebecca, start waving. Say hello. Wow, that was fast. Rebecca, congratulations.
Thank you.
We will be in touch to send over your prize, but well done on winning. I can't actually remember what movie you picked. Which one was it?
Bridesmaids. Very basic.
Oh, what a classic. Basic, but a great film. So I hope you can watch Bridesmaids at home or with your uni house with all these treats and using your projector as well. So congratulations.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very fortunate winner this evening of our movie night in package that we will be sending over to her as soon as we can. And obviously stay tuned because next week we have more competitions and of course more jackpot prizes. So definitely one to wait for. But that brings tonight's show to a close. It's been epic. It's been absolutely fantastic. Amazing to welcome so many people to the studio, so many familiar faces, and get involved in such a really interesting discussion. Obviously, if you're interested in finding out about what's going on Aish on Campus, local to you, check out our website, aishoncampus.org, where you can find out more about loads of opportunities happening and ways of earning more membership points, earning that merch, and of course, earning discounts for some of our upcoming trips. And if you're looking for plans for this summer, our Israel trip is now live. We've been inundated with applications, but we have a 2-month Israel internship trip this summer happening. So do check that out. But that brings tonight's show to a close, and it is a good night from us. Looking forward to seeing you same time, same place next week.